Alright guys, welcome back to Knock-On. Today, we're diving into the big question ahead of one of the most anticipated fights at middleweight. How will Dricus du Plessis deal with the relentless takedown pressure of Khamzat Chimaev?
Let's
Be honest, Dricus has shown moments of strong takedown defense, solid get-ups, and insane strength in scrambles. But overall, his grappling defense is inconsistent. Sometimes he surprises you with brilliant movement, and other times he looks off balance, clumsy, or gives up dominant positions entirely. And that's going to be a massive problem against someone like Khamzat, the most dangerous wrestler he's ever faced. By far. In fact, du Plessis really hasn't fought that many wrestlers at all. He's a UFC champ with 2 title defenses. But the only real wrestlers he's shared the octagon with are Derek Brunson and Robert Whittaker. And even Whittaker's wrestling isn't his primary weapon. Compare that to Khamzat, who steamrolled Whittaker in the first round. This fight will be a completely different level for du Plessis. He's never dealt with someone who wrestles the way Chimaev does. Not even close. Khamzat is a chain wrestler. He doesn't just shoot once and stop. He'll go for one takedown, fail, transition to the next, then tie it into a clinch, drag you down, wrap your legs, hunt the back, attack submissions. His top control is insane, and his submission game is lethal. The first round is a nightmare against this guy. No one's stopped it. Not Robert Whittaker. Not Kamaru Usman. Not Li Jingliang, Kevin Holland, or Gilbert Burns. And in some of those fights, Khamzat wasn't even trying to grapple as hard as we know he can. But against du Plessis, you can bet he's going Elin. Smash, submit, and that's where things get interesting. Let's look at how du Plessis has handled grappling heavy fighters in the past. Start with the Brunson fight. Du Plessis actually throws a ton of kicks against a guy known for his wrestling, and that's a risky move. He threw a double roundhouse, led with a right, and followed with a telegraphed left. Brunson saw it coming, caught the kick, and took him straight to the ground. From there, du Plessis tried to scramble, tried to roll out, but Brunson just sat on top of him. This is where things start to break down for Dricus. As he tries to stand, he doesn't pay attention to his base or posture. Brunson reads it perfectly, pulls his hips back, throws in a right underhook, tips him over with a basic tilt, and gets to side control. That's basic stuff. And du Plessis' lack of balance, both in wrestling and in striking, is a recurring problem. Against Khamzat, it could cost him the fight in the first few minutes. Now, give credit where it's due. Dricus is freakishly strong. He literally bench-pressed Brunson off him with momentum, kicked up his leg, and tossed Brunson off just enough to recover half guard. He's got ox-like power if you give him any space to use it. But power alone won't save him against a grappler. Like Khimzaev from half guard, Du Plessis does something he always does. He shrimps into his opponent to create space, looking for that underhook so he can rise to his feet. But here's the issue. In doing so, he gives up his neck. It happened with Brunson, and he defended it just fine. But against Khamzat, giving up your neck is a huge mistake. That's how he wrapped Kevin Holland up with a darce. That's how he threatens rear naked chokes and face cranks. He doesn't just hold position, he breaks people. And where Brunson made critical errors, like jumping guillotines, not throwing in his hooks, or failing to secure dominant positions, Khamzat wouldn't. He doesn't give up control. He advances. He punishes. He finishes. Brunson let Du Plessis stand up multiple times. Khamzat, not a chance. If you turn your back or try to rise up on one knee, Khimzaev's sinking in hooks, climbing you like a backpack, and dragging you back to the mat. At one point in the Brunson fight, Du Plessis even shoots a takedown himself, trying to use Brunson's forward pressure against him. But it backfires badly. He doesn't have the technique or power to counter Brunson's momentum and ends up underneath in full mount. That's a nightmare scenario if he tries that on Khimzaev. Game over. And once again, Du Plessis gives up his back. It's a theme in his grappling. But Brunson just doesn't capitalize. He doesn't even try to lock in both hooks. Khamzat wouldn't miss that. He would lock it in, sink the choke, and probably end the fight right there. Even when Du Plessis escapes, it's often more about his strength and scrambling than clean technique. He shrimps, uses butterfly hooks, posts, and powers out of bad positions. But against elite grapplers who combine technique with pressure, like Khimzaev, like Islam, like Khabib, that kind of chaos doesn't work. They don't give you the space to do any of that. Let's not forget the Darren Till fight. Till, not even a wrestler, grabs a sloppy telegraphed kick and dumps Du Plessis to the ground. Till even threatens a guillotine, and only the fence bailing out Du Plessis saves him. And yes, Dricus eventually scrambles out, gets a body lock, and turns the position around. But again, not against a wrestler. Not against someone trying to advance and finish. Then you have Robert Whittaker, who hits a clean blast double, sends Du Plessis flying to the fence, and settles inside control. And even though Whittaker is a great fighter, he's not Khamzat. He doesn't hunt for submissions. He doesn't micromanage the legs and wrists the way that Russian-style grapplers do. He doesn't chain wrestle. Khamzat does. So here's the big takeaway. Du Plessis has shown flashes of great instincts. He's strong, scrappy, awkward, and awkward can be effective when used right. But when it comes to defending layered grappling, attacks from a chain wrestler with submission threats, ground and pound, and top pressure like Khamzat, we've never seen him prove he can stop that. Not even close. And this isn't just about Duplessis. The entire middleweight division hasn't really had to deal with that Russian-style chain wrestling. At lightweight, it caused havoc. At middleweight, the only guys who faced it, John Phillips and Robert Whittaker, got completely dominated. The style gap is massive, honestly. It raises the question, are welterweights actually more complete fighters than middleweights right now? Even short notice, Kamaru Usman looked more composed than most top 10 MIDDHTS. So when Duplessis faces Khamzat, we're going to find out fast just how wide the gap is. Either Duplessis surprises the world and defends that first-round pressure, or he gets steamrolled like every other victim of Khamzat's style. Either way, this fight is going to answer a lot of questions. If you enjoyed this deep breakdown, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to Nakan, and hit that bell so you never miss an upload. More fight previews, recaps, and technical deep dives coming soon. See you in the next one.